Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to the Tasso Works Scooter Workshop, and let's find out what's going on today.
Okay, in this video we are going to be talking about changing the belt and rollers in this JPS125 E5 Plus model. It's the same motor that's in all the latest 2025 onward models from Royal Alloy. So the changing of the belt and rollers is exactly the same. So let's just crack on and I'll show you how this is done. So firstly, let's remove this panel. Okay, so that's the panel removed, and we've now got access through to the drive area, which holds the belt and rollers, and this is the cover on the top here, and we need to take this cover off. Now, to get this cover off, we need to remove the airbox, or certainly move the airbox up and out the way. It's really easy. There's just two bolts, one on the back here and one underneath here. We're just going to remove those. There's a small screw at the very back that just holds the top of the mudguard on. Remove that as well, and then you can just move the airbox just up and out the way, just so that you can get access through to the drive belt. So first off, we'll get a couple of bolts out of here. So that's the one on the back and the one at the front. And the screw I've already removed on the top of the mudguard, but it sits on there. So now you can see we've got access to that. Now what we can do is just pull that off, and that will give us access through to, I think it's a lot easier to get access through to once you've removed the airbox out of the way. So changing the belt and rollers is a case of just removing this cover. That's the black section you see here. This is secured on by 8mm bolts that go through the top here, and all we need to do is just remove those. It's dry inside. There's nothing that's going to suddenly pour out when you do it. So let's just undo those, and then I'll show you the cover coming off. You can do this with just a normal sort of wrench and an 8mm on the end, but it's sometimes just a little easier with an impact drive. So we'll pop these 8 out. You can see, just work your way along, and you'll take all of them out the way, and the one in the back here. There we go, and that's all 8 done. Then we're just going to pull the casing, and if you just hear it go click, and that's it done. And then we're just going to lift it up and out the way. Was it lifted down and out the way? There we go, lift it down and out the way. And then we'll put the casing just to one side. So there we go, that's access through to the clutch and the variator at the front. So we want to change the belt in the center, and we're going to change the rollers which sit at the back of the variator here. So for this we need to take off these two nuts here, which secure the covers on both. So let's grab a 17mm on our wrench. So let's grab our 17 on our wrench, and we just need a holder. So let's pop the holder into place. Now you can do this just with a socket and a wrench, but it makes things a lot easier once we've got an automatic one, so we can just rattle that off. So that's one knot off there. It definitely makes it easier for the one in here, because it's near on impossible to actually get a socket through. I'd love to do the impact gun and put it through there, but exactly where that nut is right on the point of everything, where all these cross members are, the lot. So it's really hard. You could get in with an adjustable, but to be honest with you, it's either with a wrench or an automatic wrench like this. And then all we need to do is just undo the nut there. Do that nut, and take that nut, and we can take the variator fan off. Now there is a washer, so be careful that you don't lose that, so just put that to one side, and I normally just put the nut on the top. And the same with the clutch on the back. We're going to take this off. This also has a washer, don't lose that. Keep that on top of there, and then what you can do is just get hold of the belt and the clutch itself and take it out. So that is your clutch assembly removed, and you can put that to one side, and that's the belt that we're going to be changing. Now The next job is to change the variator pulleys themselves, or the rollers themselves. So if you just hold your finger in just so that you can slide it out, keep it sandwiched together, because if you just take the one half apart, all the rollers are just going to fall out all across your bench. So just take the whole lot together, flip it upside down, and if you press the back, you can just remove the ramp plate, and there's your 6 rollers in there. Now just tip them upside and you've cleared them out of the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in DrPulley rollers on this. So DrPulley rollers are not round like the originals, they are cam shaped, and this makes for a very reliable roller. It doesn't sit there and wear out like round rollers. Round rollers will naturally want to have flat sides to them. If you nail it away at traffic lights and things like that, you start getting flat spots in your rollers, and then they won't spin out properly. You start losing power. DrPulleys never suffer from that. They are like a cam shape. You can see them there, they're like a little cam. Now for these, you just simply place them into the variator like so, and you need to make sure, I don't know if you can see that or not on there, but you need to make sure that you can read the DrPulley along the top. So put it in from the left hand side and making sure you can read DrPulley along the top, and just pop them into the gaps and work your way around. DrPulley at the top, and just pop them in there, and that is all 6 of them done. So that's them into their separated holders. Next, put the ramp plate back on, and making sure that it goes into the gaps where it should do. Okay, so that's them all in together. Now make sure you keep that held together. You don't want them to move inside the variator. They need to be in their set position, so hold it together and then offer it back up to the engine itself and slide it on. So that's your variator put back in. Next we're going to get our new belt, and obviously you can see our belt there. It's got our name across it. Usually it's best as a rule of thumb just so that to put it on so that you can read the name. Now we need to get hold of the clutch. Now just loop that onto the belt, put that onto the drive shaft, and then just hook that over the front pulley itself. Like so. You can press it a little bit, you can get that onto there properly. So that's the drive pulley on. Next we are going to pop our variator fan back on, making sure that you've got that into the grooves. And I'd like to put a little bit of thread lock onto there. If I had some, I would pop it on, but for the purpose of this video, we are just going to pop the nut back on. So pop the nut on. Just squeeze the belt together and just make sure that you've got a little bit of slack, and you can start to tighten the nut a bit easier then. So just make sure that it's got some movement. We don't want to pinch that belt. That's the last thing we need, because then you think you've got it tight enough and you haven't. Then take your holder, put it onto the variator. Right, next we need a torque wrench, and we're going to set this to 70 Newton meters on our nut. 870, there we go, 17 mil, and then we're just going to tighten that until we hear it click. Okay, and that's our 70 set for the front, and the same on the back. We are going to pop the nut, pop the variator, pop the clutch back on, and washer and nut. Again, it's good practice, just use a little bit of Loctite in there. Then lock that into place, and again we're just going to tighten this nut up to the same until we can hear it click. And there we go, that is the variator belt and rollers all done. So just do a quick spin just to check you've got movement in there and that belt is not trapped in any way. Then we just need to put the cover back on. again from the bottom on this JPS model. Some models you'll find that you actually take the cover through the top, and but on this JPS it's through the bottom here, or certainly on this E5 Plus model. I think the casings are a slightly different shape. And then just going to pop these screws back in. Now it's good practice again, put some copper grease onto these nuts. You'll thank me later for it, because when you come to get this off in a year or so's time, it's so much easier when you've got copper grease on these. So we're just going to pop these all back in. Now let's just go into the 8 different places that we just took them out from. Same with there, and one at the front. And we'll get our impact, and we'll just pop them up. And there we go. The belt and roll has changed. Fairly straightforward, fairly easy. Okay, that's that tightened up, and we just want to pop the airbox back into place. So we will clip that back onto the throttle body, align the 2 nuts so they sit on neatly there, and then we are just going to pop the 2 bolts back in and tighten the front up, and we've got the one on the back, and that goes straight through and lines up there, and that's that one done. Just make sure you haven't got any cables trapped, and then we've got the hose from the breather which needs to connect into the airbox at the front there. That's the drive belt and DrPulley rollers fitted into this JPS125 Royal Alloy. As you can see, it was a fairly easy job. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want to order a new drive belt and rollers, you can get this from your Tasso dealer, or you can buy them from our website. Again, the link is in the description below.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe below so you don't miss our next episode.